We have relationships in our life, including a relationship with the truth. And in today's Sunday question, we take a closer look at what it's like to have a relationship with truth. Hey everyone, I'm Denise Brown, and this is the Sunday question. On Sundays, we craft a good question that can become a helpful daily intention we can use during our week. When our mind asks a good question, it then looks for the right answer that's right for us. This week's Sunday question is actually inspired by a coaching client I have. She's been caring for her husband for over a decade, and 2 years ago, she started hospice services for her husband. And with hospice services, she finally got help that helps. And then 7 months later, they told her that hospice services would end. Her husband didn't die. It was devastating for her because the help that helps was ending. She had to pick up the pieces, figure out a new kind of help to organize, schedule, find, manage, take advantage of, and she did it. And then she managed until this past October, just a few weeks ago, when her husband had a significant health crisis, went into the hospital, was discharged, and then started hospice services again. However, she really debated about starting hospice services again because she didn't want to go through the heartbreak of it ending again. So she asked the nurse, the social worker, pretty much anyone, what are the chances that hospice services are going to end again? And they told her it's not going to end again. But what they didn't tell her was why. Because she asked the question, is this going to end again? She was sharing her worry about going through that heartbreak of rebuilding help that helps when help that helps stops. And they minimized that worry by just continuously saying to her, it's not going to end. But what they needed to tell her was, it's not going to end because here's the truth of where your husband is in his end of life journey. Here's what we see with his body. Here's what we know about what's happening, which means this is where he is in his end of life journey. In our coaching calls, then, what I started to hear was she was trying to not be surprised by the services ending again. But I started worrying that she would be surprised by his death. So in the coaching calls, we started talking about what are the questions she can ask the nurse and the social worker about where her husband is in his end of life journey so that she has good, truthful information. I'm not sure why she has to work so hard to get the truth, but apparently that's how it is. Something else, too, when she was having a conversation with the social worker, who's young, 23 years old, and doing the best, but she's 23 years old, she told my client that many families receiving hospice services for a family member don't tell that family member that they're receiving hospice services, which in my experience of 35 years of supporting family caregivers isn't the truth. So, oh my heavens, there's something within the culture of that hospice program, that particular hospice provider that seems to dance around the truth. And that's why I wrote this week's Sunday question, because we all deserve the truth. Absolutely. Without question, without doubt. And the dancing is what I talk about in this week's Sunday question. And here's what I wrote for you. This week's Sunday question is, what's today's truthful conversation? We can tell when another doesn't tell us the truth. Our mind reacts because we know something's missing during the dialogue. Our gut reacts because we feel something inauthentic in the conversation. Our nervous system reacts because we sense the dance around the truth. Others may withhold the truth from us, believing it's important to protect us, that sharing the truth may be hurtful or harmful. We're strong enough to hear the truth. We know that when we hear the truth about our performance, our family members' health, or our own reality, then we have our focus, our priority, and our opportunity. Without the truth, we can't take a step forward. Without the truth, we can struggle to feel better, get better, and receive support to be better. The truth really does set us free. With the truth, we know what we can do next, which means we stay in action rather than in uncertainty. FYI, my client is struggling in uncertainty. It is anxiety producing for her because they will not just tell her the truth. Okay, back to the Sunday question. We can ask for help, research options, create strategies, and brainstorm ideas. We also can bring others into that circle of truth so they can contribute, give and receive support, and share the experience. We're not alone. We can remind ourselves to embrace honesty by asking ourselves this question to start our day. What's today's truthful conversation? What's the truth you'll tell yourself today? I'd love to know. Stop by our community, caringourway.com, and let us know about your truth. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for all you do. I'm Denise Brown.